Thanks for joining me for this deep dive into Warrior One or Virabhadrasana I. This is a really common pose throughout different yoga practices, but it can be quite challenging to find a specific way of doing this that suits your body. There are a lot of opinions about what it should look like, but actually I'm here to help you find a version that suits you. So I'm going to start from the feet and then work up the body in terms of explanation, and each stage we'll find hopefully something that you can experiment with to find what's right for you. So I'm going to start in standing, and I'm going to step 1 foot forward and 1 step back. The length of your stride is totally up to you. Often people say that the longer, the further you step back, the more difficult it is, but again, that depends on different people's bodies. So I quite like a stance about this length, not too wide, not too small for me. Goldilocks, as I like to say. And then my front foot is facing forwards. My left foot is actually dialing slightly off into sort of the 10 o'clock position on the mat. So this back foot has its heel down and your toes at a diagonal, so not directly straight forward like you're in a lunge, out to the side. How far out to the side is totally dependent on you. I know some people who like to be sort of at 90 degrees. Personally, I prefer to be a little bit further forward, but again, experiment, play around and figure out what you feel most comfortable doing and what actually activates your legs in the way you want them to. So we've got both heels on the ground, front feet facing forward, back feet just off to the side. From foot, we want a roughly even distribution across the foot. So you're pushing down through the big toe, the ball of your foot, and also the 3 corners that make the triangle of your foot. So your heel, your little toe, your big toe. You want a roughly even distribution. Your back foot, you're lifting up that inner arch. You're activating inside muscles here on your leg, and you're pushing in to that back edge of your foot. So we're really active in this pose. We're not sort of chilling and having a good time necessarily, but we're really here trying to make the most, being strong in this position. We've got our hips and our chest dialing forward. Doesn't matter if your hips aren't directly forward, it might not be accessible to you. It just depends on your bone structure, your mobility. So I like to say with your chest, focus your chest facing forward and your hips will follow as best as they can. And we don't want to be sinking left, right. We want to keep our pelvis level, and that sort of comes as well from activating those legs. We're in a really active stance here. Muscles are engaged. And then we're going to lean forward. And some people say that your warrior, you should have your thigh parallel to the ground all the time. But this is really hard, and it's not always feasible. So even a slight bend is great. Then the question is, actually, where should our knee be? So I'm going to turn to face you and actually cover 2 things here. Is your knee position, but also maybe your foot position a little bit. So if I'm standing in my warrior position here, you can see my knee is sort of tilting inwards. Here I'm not activating the outside of my leg, the glutes, the quads, and the abductors. Here, you might want to give it a nudge a little bit, you might want to just use it. We want the knee to be guiding over the middle of that foot. So hopefully you can see that my foot is now in line with my hip. So my knee, my hip, my foot, all in a line rather than dropping in. This is there to remind us to keep active. You also might have noticed me shifting a little bit. Partly that is to be able to give you a clear image, but also this is actually more stable for a lot of people. So you might have heard of something called heel to arch alignment or heel to heel alignment. And this is where people say you have to have the front heel directly in line with the back arch. But actually you're on this tightrope, and that can be really difficult to maintain the balance. It also just might not be accessible for your body. So I really encourage you to play around with the position that suits you. But I think the key thing here is activating the outside of that front leg by keeping that knee in front. Often you'll hear yoga teachers say, you want to be able to see your big toe, and this is what they're referring to. Bringing that knee out so it's in line, you might be able to feel the activation down the outside line of your leg. So here we've got our lower body stance, front feet dialing forwards, back feet dialing out to the side, pushing into our feet, really active, knee in line, chest forward. And this is a perfectly good warrior. Traditionally, your arms probably are going to come up, but you've got lots of options here. You might have your arms up. You might be asked to cactus your arms, sometimes squeezing your shoulder blades together. But also at any of these points, it's perfectly acceptable to have your hands on your hips. I really like that as a bit of tactile feedback for myself, to be just reminding myself, on my hips level. Is my back extended? Is my crown lifting to the sky? And something you might often hear is engage your core. Well, I'm here to challenge that a little bit. We want to promote natural breath. And by sucking in our tummy, engaging the core, we're actually disrupting our body's natural mechanism to breathe comfortably, get that oxygen through our tissues. So I really encourage you to think more about the extension, the activation of the legs, rather than thinking, I must suck my core in. Because actually what gives us energy is the oxygen from the air we breathe. So we really want to be able to feel that breath, rather than, be conscious of that flat stomach and it has to look great. We want to facilitate that functional movement, and that includes breathing. We all do it. It's necessary for us. And actually, it might well change your practice and how strong you feel in that pose. So I really encourage you to try that. So this for me is quite a comfortable warrior. Comfortable. It's doable. But my arms aren't tired today. Definitely encourage putting your hands on your hips through any flow or practice, just to help you build that lower body and focus on the muscles that were intended to be worked. But hopefully that's helpful for you. Please do have a play around to figure out what works for you, and let me know if you have any questions or if you found a new way of doing this which you really love. Thanks.